Welcome back, America. You know, it's always a pleasure to have our friend, Representative Elise Stefanik, with us from New York, obviously House Republican Leadership Chairwoman Elise Stefanik. The Democrat Party in New York has lost its mind, I think. They have a voting system, ranked voting there, which burps up this guy, Mamdani, and he is not shy about who he is and what he is, despite the fact that Democrat leadership's trying to spin for him and the media are trying to spin for him. He is a hardcore Marxist and he's a hardcore Islamist who has said horrendous things about Jews, who won't even reject the phrase global intifada, which is a worldwide terrorist movement against Jews. What do you make of what's going on in your state?
Well, Mark, this is where today's New York Democrat Party is. And frankly, that's where today's National Democrat Party. They have embraced and propped up the Marxist communist wing, which is now mainstream. And this is really revealing. It's important for viewers to know that both Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader in the House, and Chuck Schumer, the Democrat leader in the Senate, are both from New York State. And in fact, they both voted in the New York City Democrat mayoral primary. Reporters haven't been chasing them down to ask them who they vote for. And yet they have refused to condemn Mamdani's heinous, communist, anti-Semitic history and statements over the course of his campaign. So New Yorkers are looking for common sense. They are looking for strong leadership, strong moral leadership, strong economic leadership. We do not want to continue to exacerbate the mass exodus that has occurred from New York State and specifically New York City under radical single-party Democrat rule that has failed the hardworking families of my great state.
You know, Elise Stefanik, it's not enough for these Democrat so-called leaders, and clearly they're not leading anybody, to sit on the sidelines trying to figure out if they're going to make up their mind, trying to figure out how to help their political careers because they're scared to death. Isn't this a time for moral clarity? Either you stand for Americanism, either you stand against anti-Semitism, either you stand for the city of New York and what it stands for, or you don't. And I don't see the governor, Hochul, either. Where is she? Is she in the witness protection program? What's going on with her?
Well, just this week, she called herself the therapist-in-chief of New York State. That is not the role of the governor of New York State. New Yorkers deserve a strong governor with strong policies and strong moral leadership. And this is not a mistake that this happened under Kathy Hochul's watch. She's the highest-ranking New York Democrat in the state of New York, and Kami Mamdani is a result of her failed leadership. She is beholden and embraced these radical Marxist proposals, these communist policies, whether it's government-run grocery stores, whether it's the abolishing of private property. Just earlier this week, Mark, it was breaking news. Mamdani was caught on video saying he supports abolishing private property. And let's remember, this is in the city of New York. New York City, one of the greatest, if not the greatest cities in the world. I believe that. And yet we are forgetting these fundamental American principles, whether it's free markets, capitalism, the American dream, that is being washed away by these communist priorities, all on Kathy Hochul's watch. And that is why voters are waking up. And if you look at her polling, she is hemorrhaging. She is losing not only, of course, she's losing Republicans, but independents and even common sense Democrat voters as well who want that strong leadership. She has failed on all levels. The Democrats have failed at all levels. And look, Kami Mamdani is the result of that.
You know, if this guy, Mamdani, the fact that he doesn't wear a white hood and a white robe doesn't mean he doesn't share the same views about Jews as the Ku Klux Klan, quite frankly, and the Democrats would be very upset about that. There's that. And then he talks about he's running on affordability. That's their new watchword. When we come back, Elise Stefanik, can you point to me one communist regime that is affordable to the people? I mean, this is really quite remarkable that this guy's running around talking about affordability when he's going to chase all these people out of the city. We'll be right back. Welcome back, America. You know, Elise Stefanik, this word affordability, you know, these Marxists throw around phrases and everything. They never actually compare something with something. So I'm curious, how would he make housing more affordable? By the government taking it over? By having more rent control so that people who don't have rent control apartments, their prices go through the roof and you have less housing? I mean, more affordable? the taxes that are going to take place. And by the way, he says in white communities especially, he wants to raise taxes. This guy really is a nut job, isn't he? What does he mean by affordability?
Well, first of all, let's look at the affordability crisis in New York State. It is a result of single-party Democrat rule for years, for decades. We're the highest tax state in the nation, the most onerous regulations. People are leaving the state because of these horrific economic policies. So what are Mamdani's solutions? He wants to shout on TikTok about affordability, but when you dig into it, it's a government takeover of grocery stores. It's freeze the rent, i.e. making it harder not only for small businesses, but importantly, making it more difficult for the people of New York to achieve economic opportunity. On top of that, he wants to abolish private property. These are truly communist proposals that will be rubber stamped by the New York City Council, which is run by far-left radical communist Democrats, and rubber stamped by Kathy Hochul, who doesn't have the strength, or frankly, she shares this ideology, let's be honest. She has embraced it, she has refused to condemn it, and she is in the witness protection program trying to avoid responding because she doesn't have the strength to say, this is wrong, this is not where New Yorkers stand. I do have that strength. New Yorkers are looking for a strong governor with a vision for economic growth, with a vision for the future. Look at this past week, Mark. You had Dave McCormick, the newly elected senator from Pennsylvania. You had President Trump announcing $90 billion of investment from energy company and AI companies right across the border of New York State in Pennsylvania. And what's happening in New York? We have a ban on natural gas fracking. So we have been on the energy losing side of this, with people paying the price with high utility bills, high energy bills. We have the worst taxes and businesses are fleeing. This is all the epitome of New York Democrat Party. And the flourish on top, the cherry on top, is what happened in the New York City Democrat mayor primary race with Mamdani winning. So we are going to provide that vision for common sense. And I appreciate the outpouring of support across New York State, across party lines.
You're going to need a strong governor should this guy get elected to deal with this guy. That's number one. You're right about the city council. That would be one wonderful Politburo with the chairman of the party. So there would be that. But the Democrat Party is allowing itself to be devoured by these extremist elements because Schumer is worried about AOC, Hakim's worried about God knows what. So you basically have Democrats who I think blue-collar union folks thought represented them no longer represent them. And so when wealthier people and businesses leave New York City and this guy's handing out all these freebies, it's the plumbers, it's the electricians, it's the taxi drivers, it's the blue-collar people who are going to be left holding the bag, and they're not going to be able to afford the city even more. They're certainly not going to be able to afford all this welfare spending, are they?
Absolutely. The Republican Party is the party of hardworking families, of working class Americans. And you even saw that play out. If you look at the electorate in this New York City Democrat mayoral primary, Mamdani actually lost the working class. People that he purports to benefit with his communist proposals, which we know will be detrimental to hardworking families in the working class, they voted against him because they know that they're going to be hurt the worst, whether it's his economic policies, this communist takeover, or whether it's his very dangerous defund the police. He has said he wants to defund the police. That means that communities, particularly in New York City, are going to be crushed. It's going to be an increase of crime. He also has said he does not want police officers to respond to calls related to domestic violence and domestic abuse. So for those women in New York City who are living in horrific circumstances if their spouse or their partner or their boyfriend is abusing them, Mamdani does not want to allow the NYPD to respond. That is abysmal, it is dangerous, and it's not what New Yorkers want. I don't care about your party affiliation if you're a voter. You want common sense and strong leadership.
Very well said. Well, just one man's opinion. You better run for governor. Elise Stefanik, God bless you, my friend, and hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll be right back.